Hi, my name is David Bergmanson, and for the October 7th, 2021 edition of the World Weather Watcher, we're going to be zooming into the central part of Africa to have a look at the movement of what we call the Intertropical Convergence Zone. This is the movement of the rainfall patterns across Africa. In the news, we see that Nature Climate Change reports that climate change literacy in Africa is actually quite low. And there is a gender gap in the awareness of climate change and its impact on citizens. And so the need for localized weather data has never been more important. And as we lead into COP26, I'm sure this topic of climate change literacy will be very prevalent. The good news is that aWhere offers 370,000 virtual weather stations that offer complete weather data going all the way back to 2006 that allows us to understand how weather has actually changed and provides the tools to start dissecting and planning for the future in adaptation to climate change. So as part of this, we look across the world for the last 30 days precipitation and look into the forecast the next 15 days for precipitation. So over the last 30 days, we see that for Central America, a little drier than normal conditions indicated by the red coloring, while we've seen wetter than normal conditions for the northern part of Brazil, the central part of Africa, which has been a very good cropping season, all the way across to West Africa. Good growing conditions indicated by precipitation here for India last 30 days, with the exception of the southern part of India that has been a little bit drier than normal. A little drier than normal for the eastern part of China, which we spoke about last week. That continues. A little drier than normal for Southeast Asia, but as we'll see, still enough moisture to support agriculture. As we look to the forecast the next 15 days, we see a little drier than normal conditions for both the north part of Brazil as well as the southern tip of Brazil, but in the central part of Brazil, a little bit wetter than normal. And this is what we're seeing across the world, is this rainfall variability has been increasing around the world. In the case of India, we see in the forecast good growing precipitation for the central part of India, a little drier than normal though for the southern tip of India. And as we said, a little drier than normal for the archipelago of Southeast Asia. Looking at precipitation in absolute terms, we see virtually no rain in the forecast for the southern part of the United States. Virtually no rain in the forecast for the Middle East all the way up through to the northern part of Kazakhstan. And so this is going to be an issue as Kazakhstan has been facing some water stress right up through to harvest time, which is now occurring. When we look to maximum temperature, the past 30 days have shown a warmer than normal patch in central Canada and central United States, a little cooler than normal conditions for the northern part of Brazil, while the southern part of Brazil has been a little bit warmer than normal the last 30 days, a little warmer than normal for the central part of Africa, while we see cooler than normal conditions for the northern part of Kazakhstan the last 30 days, extending through to the western part of Russia and into Ukraine. In the forecast, we see this very large zone of eastern Canada and the eastern United States warmer than normal, while the western part of Canada and the United States cooler than normal for the next 15 days. See the northern part of Brazil warmer than normal, while the southern part of Brazil is cooler than normal for the forecast. We see across much of Africa, the southern part and the western part of Africa, a little warmer than normal conditions the next 15 days, and cooler than normal conditions for Kazakhstan, extending all the way across the northern part of China. Looking at the ratio of precipitation over potential evapotranspiration, an index we use in rain-fed agriculture to judge water stress for rain-fed crops, we see that for the western part of the United States, which is normal, this critical threshold, which for rain-fed crops like corn needs to be above 0.8, it's below that, indicated in red here, while the central part of Mexico all the way down through to the northern part of South America is well above 1.0, which is suitable for rain-fed agriculture, shown in green here. Same is true for West Africa, all the way across to Ethiopia and extending down into the Democratic Republic of Congo. Good growing conditions last 30 days as indicated by this index. Same is true for India, central part of India, good growing conditions in green here, with the exception of isolated areas in the southern part of India being too dry to support rain-fed agriculture. Looking to the next 15 days, we see that dry conditions through the central part of the United States, indicated by red here for rain-fed agriculture, extending down to the central part of Mexico, while the northern part of South America will continue to be suitable for rain-fed agriculture. Same is true for much of West Africa, although we do see a tapering and a shift of rainfall patterns now as the seasons change there. And also in the case of India, the central part of India in the forecast still good for rain-fed agriculture. Now, aWhere has taken the agroecological zone of the FAO and has converted it into a dynamic index that breaks down the agroecological zones into just 4 categories: arid, marginal, suitable, and humid, based on the long-term rainfall patterns and temperatures. And this can then be used in combination with the current weather or the forecast weather to identify areas where the risk of crop failure is emerging or is a high threat. And so we're able to use this dynamic index across the world to give a quick look at our food security situation. So looking at the last 30 days, we see in blue here the humid areas that have had good rainfall patterns this season. So that's the case for the southern part of Mexico, the northern part of South America, across much of West Africa, including the central part of Democratic Republic of Congo, the central through up the northern part of India. It has been good growing conditions, as well as much of Southeast Asia. When we use this dynamic agroecological index for the forecast for the next 15 days, we see that this continued good growing conditions prevails for the northern part of South America, and we're starting to see the movement of the ICTZ for countries like Ghana, Nigeria, where that drier condition is now starting to push down into each of these countries in West Africa. And we're starting to see some variability here in the Democratic Republic of Congo that we're going to zoom into in the next slide. So when we zoom into the central part of Africa, we see that last 30 days here, the growing conditions have been good from really the central part of Democratic Republic of Congo all the way up through across to West Africa. Now in the next 15 days, though, we see that this dry zone is now starting to push down in countries like Ghana and Nigeria, where we're starting to see insufficient moisture to support agriculture as the cropping season ends. And we also see some drier than normal conditions for Democratic Republic of Congo, as indicated by these red colorations in an area that is normally humid. So we're able to use this dynamic index on a weekly basis to track potential risk of crop failures across the world, especially in data-scarce areas like Africa. If analytics like this are of interest to you, I invite you to go to our adapter platform at apps.aware.com, where you can start your weather analytics journey for free. Until next week, take care.